Put yourself in this situation. Imagine after waking up, find yourself in a situation that any human being that you might come across might be a cannibalistic alien parasite, just salivating to devour you, make you eat dinner, and your soul languish in their digestive system. Just imagine. A brief recap of the essential. Parasyte Part 2. The threats are an army of parasites established with the help of a human mayor, Takeshi Hirokama, with the emir of the sick parasite called Goto. A parasite with a body composed of 5 different parasites. This parasite part 2 begins with the police using a serial killer who has witnessed the carnage of the parasite to track them. These parasites he has witnessed are aliens called parasites. One of the things to know about them is that they infect the human brain by entering through their ears and completely takes over the body, and in turn feed on other humans for sustenance. So Shinichi is paraded before this serial killer to be identified, but the serial killer failed to identify him. So meanwhile, he and Migi joined forces to hunt down other parasites. They also philosophize about the meaning of life and even engages in cooking sessions. It is understood by watching this movie that after the death and loss of his mother, these experiences turned Shinichi into a vicious vigilante. Shinichi senses the presence of someone outside. The person that talks in the corner, hiding from Shinichi, the undercover investigative journalist hired by Tamiya. The city's mayor, Takashi Hirokawa, is disturbed about the vigilante works of Shinichi attacking the alien. So the mayor reports Shinichi to Tamiya, the somewhat pseudo leader of the parasite, but she forbids him from going after the boy. Tamiya, now giving birth to a human baby, intends to use Shinichi and Migi for her somewhat scientific research on the ability for the parasites to coincide with the humans. Afterwards, the mayor meets another parasite named Goto. Goto, as we've known, is an extremely powerful parasite, as his body is made up of 5 uniquely different parasites. Goto agrees with the mayor to kill Shinichi. So the journalist that hid away from Shinichi was hired by Tamiya to keep a tab on Shinichi and his activities. The journalist is a single father of a girl named Yumi. He bonds with Tamiya because he's a single parent and she's also a single parent as well, and agrees to continue to gather more information on Shinichi and Migi. Shinichi eventually catches the undercover journalist following him and ambushed. He found him red-handed with a camera and confronts him. Migi attacks him and insisted on killing the journalist, but Shinichi declined because he don't want to get his hands stained with human blood. So he decided to take him hostage and find out that Tamiya was the one that hired him to investigate him. Migi reveals to the journalist that Tamiya is also a parasite herself and the most dangerous of all the parasites alive, and advised him to stay far away from Tamiya. In utter disbelief, he decided to continue his investigation. Shinichi now meets his girlfriend, who has recovered from her injuries from the hospital. They do a good job in comforting each other, but later they argue about a lot of things that has been happening. However, they still maintain their friendship. So the journalist continues his investigation, interviewing the mayor about the existence of the parasite. Suspicious of the betrayal of the journalist, the mayor orders his men to kill the undercover journalist. As Shinichi and Migi walks back home, Migi senses the presence of 5 parasites. After pleas from Migi to Shinichi to run away, but they are eventually caught. They meet face to face with a man that they realize that has 5 distinct parasites in his body. A hot pursuit ensues, but Shinichi and Migi prevailed and behead the monster. They then run away, and the man in turn comes back to life. The parasite in the man's right hand, who is revealed to be Goto, leaves the right hand and takes the place of the head, and orders the parasite on the severed head to enter his right arm. When the journalist returns home, he found police officers surrounding his building. Rushing into his apartment in panic, he learned and realized that his precious daughter has been killed by the parasite who has come to hunt him. This realization and scene traumatized the undercover journalist. When interviewed by the police officers, he refused to say anything. Meanwhile, the head of the parasite, Tamiya, became so angry at the parasite for attempting to kill Shinichi and Migi. He also expresses regret on the senseless killing of the journalist's daughter, expressing her fears that the killing of humans will bring uprising and turn the humans against the parasite. This prompted her to threaten the mayor, another parasite, aiding and abetting him if they threaten to pull this stunt that they pulled now. My greatest surprise, a parasite, an alien breastfeeding a baby. How ridiculous. But it was a good work in doing that, making her baby laugh by doing funny face. The police officers became furious. The journalist that they have kept in a hotel for his protection was able to escape and immediately heads out with his team to look for the bereaved father and ensure his safety. The journalist goes to kidnap Temiya's son and leaves her a note, inviting her to a park to witness the death of her baby by his hand. So Temiya rushes to Shinichi's house to meet with Shinichi and Migi and solicit for their help. Unable to find Shinichi, she runs into his girlfriend Satomi. So Satomi eventually gives Temiya Shinichi's number. She calls Shinichi and explains to him that he has totally no idea of his attempted murder by the parasite. Pleads for his help to save her newborn baby. As Temiya and Shinichi meet the journalist at the park, the special assault team, led by Yamagishi, starts raiding the town hall to kill all the parasites about learning the involvement of the mayor. Everybody are then ordered to evacuate the building. As they come out from the building, they are meant to undergo an X-ray scan to determine whether they are parasites or not. And all the parasites identified by the X-ray machines were all executed on the spot. After evacuating the civilians, the SAT team storms the building and corners Hirokawa. After finding out that he has no place to go, the mayor sets off in a rant against humans, calling humans the real parasites. But Yamagishi calls him short and shoots him dead. But on approaching his dead body, expecting to see a parasite, he realizes that the mayor is just a mere human. He has been a human all this while, assisting the monsters to achieve their dominance. So as they continue to analyze the scene, the last parasite in the building, Goto, appears at the background. They unleash the ammunitions of the monster and he forms a shield with his left hand, blocking all the bullets without any stress. At the park, Temiya explains to the journalist that she did not order the killing of his daughter, but the bereaved father, so angry, refuses to believe her and attempts to throw the baby over the bridge. Shinichi runs towards him, trying to persuade him to stop, but the journalist is hell-bent on avenging his daughter's death. He proceeds to throw the boy over the bridge. Left with no choice, Temiya revealed her identity as a parasite by killing the journalist, piercing him through his heart, and saves her son. In the process, the journalist then falls down to his death. So the police draw their weapon and point it out at Temiya, terrified. Shinichi is touched that Temiya was able to expose her identity to save a human baby. Instead of Temiya to run away, Temiya started walking close to Shinichi with the baby. The detective and his teams warns her against taking any step close to Shinichi. She ignores them and continues to walk towards Shinichi, and the police then bombarded her with bullets. Clinging to her last few breaths, she struggles and hands over the baby to Shinichi. And she says she doesn't want to run away because she doesn't want her son to live the life of a fugitive, before collapsing to her death, turning grey in the process. Shinichi sobs, acknowledging that Temiya reminds him of the sacrifice his late mother made for him. Satomi then arrives on the scene, breaking through the police barrier, hugs Shinichi to comfort him. As the detective proceeds to take Shinichi for interrogation, he is informed that the SAT that stormed the town hall building are all dead. On arriving there, Goto throws out the severed head of Yamagishi in front of other police officers standing outside. The detective then shoots Goto, who uses his left hand to defend the bullet, and in turn strikes the detective to his death. Migi and Shinichi, sensing that they are in danger for their life, they enter into a car and make a run for it in an attempt to flee the scene. Goto then embarks on a motorbike and chases after them, eventually catches up to them and strikes them as Migi takes over the steering wheel and Shinichi dodges and avoids the strike of Goto. A long fight follows, causing Migi to lose control of the car, and the car falls off a bridge. But Migi manages to save Shinichi. Goto comes out of the crash site sustaining injuries but heals himself. Then he starts chasing Migi and Shinichi on foot into the forest. Migi then comes up with a plan, counting on ambushing the parasite. Migi then separates from Shinichi's hands, attacks the parasite from the tree, while Shinichi sneaks from behind. But the parasite disrupts their plan. Left with no choice, Migi, hanging on a tree, begs Shinichi to run away while he fights the parasite in an attempt to keep him busy to avoid the demise of Shinichi. Goto prevailed, slaughtering Migi to his death, and Shinichi runs away while the dying Migi looks on, helpless. Shinichi then finds an abandoned building to seek refuge in it and calls his girlfriend Satomi. He is traumatized by Migi's death and Satomi comforts him. She reminds him that she's always available for him and this is not the end, there's always new beginning. The two then kiss. The next morning, waking up, he discovers that a part of Migi is still in his body due to his body being infected with Migi's cell. As in the first part, in the previous part of the film, Migi has used part of his cell to save Shinichi's life by patching up his heart with part of his cell. Shinichi then realizes if Migi is still part of his body, Goto can use that to track him down and eventually kill him. He became afraid and decided to flee with his girlfriend. However, Goto catches up with them. So in order to save Satomi's life, Shinichi reviews his location and lures Goto into a garbage disposal facility. So on one of the trucks disposing garbages, they begin to fight. Goto badly beats the hell out of the boy, but even without Migi, Shinichi was impressive in the fight. He grabs a metal rod, stabs Goto in his abdomen without any noticeable impact, and suddenly it's revealed that Migi has not died but has transferred to Goto's hand. Migi then returns to Shinichi's right hand and Goto starts disintegrating because of the toxins released by Migi in his body. So finally, the last remaining part of Goto with his beating heart remains. Migi reveals there's a 50-50 chance of Goto surviving. Refusing to let that happen, Shinichi then attempts to kill the monster. They suddenly remembers Tamiya's word that these parasites are trying to survive on Earth like the human, but Shinichi realized that even if the parasites are trying to survive on Earth, he must protect the ones he truly loves and cares about. He picks up the severed torso of Goto, telling the monster that humans might not be perfect, but they deserve to live, before throwing it all into the burning abyss. So the next day, Migi tells Shinichi that since all the monsters has been killed, there is no need for it to be around anymore. Migi says it will be problematic if he stays around for Shinichi with the authorities. So Migi tells him it has decided to go into hibernation for several years, perhaps till the end of its existence. And in return, Shinichi will have to use his right hand again. Shinichi is heartbroken to let Migi leave him alone, but Migi assures him that it is time for them to walk alone. Migi turns back into Shinichi's right hand as Shinichi cries uncontrollably. Some years later, Shinichi and his girlfriend Satomi meet up together and goes to visit Tamiya's son, Taiki Tamiya. The baby seems to like the two of them and runs to hug them. Afterwards, Shinichi leaves to buy coffee for Satomi. Origami, the serial killer from earlier in the movie, watches him leave and uses the opportunity to kidnap Satomi, taking her hostage to the top of a very high building. Shinichi notices him and tracks them to the roof. The deranged killer holds Satomi at knife point and states his belief that all humans are monsters. Origami, who thinks that Shinichi is a parasite, then asks him to state his opinion. Shinichi proceeds to reveal his identity to the killer, but Satomi discourages him from doing so. Angered, Origami pushes Satomi out of the building. Shinichi runs to save the girl. He punches the killer and extends his hand from the edge of the top. However, he loses Satomi as Satomi falls, and Shinichi goes into reflection of all the time he has spent with Satomi. Suddenly, he realizes that he's holding Satomi's hand and drags her up to safety. As they breathe a sigh of relief, he realizes that Migi woke up at that moment and helped to save Satomi.
I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions on movies, series or TV shows that you'd like us to review or explain, please let us know at the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Please leave us a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell and check out our numerous playlists for more videos like this. And you're watching Cloud Fusion. I'm watching.